government remains focused on its goal of making this the decade of growth for Jamaica, despite the setbacks caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. This was outlined in the throne speech delivered by Governor-General Sir Patrick Allen during the ceremonial opening of Parliament. As he outlined government's priorities for the 2021-2022 fiscal year, the Governor-General said the goal is to surpass the victories made prior to the onset of the pandemic.
We must go beyond this and emerge economically and socially stronger by addressing fundamental gaps that have been exposed and exploiting opportunities that arise.
Sir Patrick stressed that a swift recovery could only occur in a stable macroeconomic environment with a supportive legislative and regulatory framework.
Therefore, amendments to the Urban Renewal Tax Relief Act, Financial Administration and Audit Act, Financial Services Commission Act, and Income Tax Relief Large-Scale Projects and Pioneer Industries Act will be undertaken in the new fiscal year to further create a supportive environment for business and investments.
Furthering the path of growth, government will continue to plan and design major infrastructure projects to have them ready for the post-pandemic rebound.
It should be noted that the planning and design phases of government campus and Houses of Parliament are progressing well. The planned development of the Morant Bay Urban Centre is now in the execution phase with Cabinet approval for the joint venture agreement.
Ongoing projects include the rehabilitation of groins along the Montego Bay waterfront and roadwork being done on the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project, SHIP. Work is now completed on the closed Harbour Beach, and the new facility, Harmony Beach Park, will be officially opened soon.
Through amendment of the Bath of the Apostle and Milk River Acts, public-private partnerships for the Milk River Hotel and Spa and Bath Fountain Hotel will be sought to enable their development into world-class facilities.
Enabling a thriving environment for businesses, the government is driving innovation of macro, small and medium-sized enterprises, MSMEs, through research and development.
Through the Scientific Research Council, a number of new product development ideas have been commercialized into varying products such as jams, seasonings, drinks, and sauces.
Provision is also being made to build capacity through the Small Business Development Center.
The manufacturing sector strategy was approved, facilitating implementation of a 5-year plan with the ultimate goal of increasing local manufacturing output and employment by 23% within 5 years.
On to health, Governor-General Sir Patrick Allen highlighted proactive responses by the government to the health and economic impacts of COVID-19. Notably, he said, was an economic policy response inclusive of $15 billion in tax cuts and the provision of approximately $20 billion for the COVID-19 allocation of resources for employees care program. The Governor-General also spoke to government's move to provide safe and adequate supplies of COVID-19 vaccines to the island.
It is projected that we will soon receive our first vaccine shipments through the global COVAX facility. The government continues to explore various supply options, and plans are well in advance for distribution of the vaccines.
According to Sir Patrick, government is continuing with initiatives to strengthen the general health system. These include the construction and expansion of intensive care and high-dependency units at hospitals across the island.
The government, in a year which was like no other, continued to focus on enhancing healthcare services delivery. Managing the response to the COVID-19 pandemic requires multi-sectorial collaboration. It is a whole of society approach.
Sir Patrick said the pandemic has also heightened the need for amendments to be made to the Public Health and Quarantine Acts and the Disaster Risk Management Act to allow for greater enforcement measures. Strengthening the security apparatus remains a high priority for the government. As such, For the 2021-2022 financial year, there will be continuous investments in mobility and technology to include the expansion of the National CCTV Surveillance Program. This is to aid intelligence and forensic gathering and investigation that will help to secure reliable and legitimate evidence. 4 pieces of legislation which have advanced to the bill stage are key to supporting this move.
Additionally, the government will be seeking parliamentary approval for other key policy and legislative measures designed to strengthen our crime-fighting efforts, enhance rehabilitation and reintegration of offenders, and improve public order.
These include the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency Investigation and Prosecution Procedures Regulations and the amendment to the Corrections Act. Meanwhile, operational changes within the judiciary system has resulted in an increase in the number of judgments.
By the end of March 2022, there should be no judgment that is outstanding for more than 3 to 6 months at the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal.
For the upcoming fiscal year, government intends to introduce a mediation bill, amend the Criminal Records Rehabilitation of Offenders Act, and repeal the 19th Century Notaries Public Act. Furthermore, there are plans to pilot the enactment of 2 bills to, among other things, grant a limited right of appeal to the prosecution. And the legal frameworks for the anti-money laundering, combating financing of terrorism is to be strengthened in the coming fiscal year. As government moves towards a digital society, it will be implementing the Data Protection Act and the Data Protection Regulations, as well as drafting the regulations under the Telecommunications Act. To improve the social security net, the social pension scheme will be implemented in the 2021-2022 financial year. Plans are also being made to amend the National Insurance Act and associated regulations.
It is anticipated that these amendments will give effect to increases in several benefits under the schemes.
The disabilities regulations, which has been drafted and is to be tabled this year, will support amendments being made to the Disabilities Act. Sir Patrick Allen is calling on all sectors of society to join forces to aid in rebuilding and bolstering the economy in the post-coronavirus period.
While the COVID-19 pandemic has no doubt dealt a severe blow to our lives and livelihoods, let us as one Jamaica embrace the challenge and the opportunity to build forward stronger and better together.